feel would definitely help him, but I just don't see him, conquering somebody like a veteran like Yaeger. I think it's just one of those things that's going to help him, but not.
I hope you're right. I still think that Breeze is going to go over. I think that WWE wants to show the world, like, we have all these NXT guys, these indie darlings, but we're going to show you how much better our homegrown talent is better than these guys. So that's my fear. Rooting for Liger, I bet the other guy's going to win.
All right. Well, since we're still on the Ring of Honor deal, one of Ring of Honor's biggest, assets, Samoa Joe, is going one-on-one with Baron Corbin. Thoughts on that?
I'm not a fan of Baron Corbin. He seems like he's all right, but I don't get it. Like, I don't know. He's had some feuds with some goofballs, and I don't know. His match with Rhino, I've seen Rhino work. Rhino's a good worker. He's kind of just, I don't know. They push him as this big, tall, incredibly powerful guy, and he is. He's really strong, and he's big. He's just not that big, and his tone is weird. He's not toned. He's kind of flabby looking. I don't know. I hope Samoa Joe goes over. I'm a humongous Samoa Joe fan.
Same
Joe
here.
should be, he should be there for 3 months and then off the main event roster. He should be a special, a mystery entrance or a surprise entrance in the Royal Rumble and then wrestle at WrestleMania. That's where Samoa Joe should be. Joe is awesome. And Joe's lost some weight. He's in good shape. He's in the best, wrestling condition of his life. Joe should go over. Joe should squash this punk. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Baron Corbin's going to win, and it's going to suck.
Well, in that case, I'm definitely going with Samoa Joe. I think that, despite this role that, Baron Corbin is on, I just don't think it's going to trounce, Samoa Joe because, well, let's face it, A, it's Samoa Joe, and B, as far as, wrestling-wise, Samoa Joe just outclasses Baron Corbin on, 20 different levels, and nobody can deny that.
That's true.
All right, so NXT Tag Team Championships. Blake and Murphy, no-face, no-name guys who I really do not understand why they're even in the tag team title picture, facing against, I think, your guys, the Vaudevillains.
I love the Vaudevillains. They're actually really getting a title shot?
They're getting a title shot at, well, actually, they had a title shot, I think, a couple weeks ago. Then Alexa Bliss got involved, cost them the match. But now Regal's granting them another rematch at Brooklyn. But they said, you better have somebody who can, match up with, Alexa Bliss, because otherwise you're going to be at a one-person disadvantage. And this past Wednesday on NXT, I think they were coming out saying, we have somebody, but Alexa Bliss just slapped him, twice before even talking, and then Vaudevillains are just like, all right, you want the surprise? We'll just wait then. They after the second slap, they're just like, all right, fine, whatever.
I love the Vaudevillains. I think they're fantastic. They have great characters. They're good wrestlers. I really, really like the Vaudevillains. I think they're my favorite tag team in the world right now, other than Christopher Daniels and Kazarian.
Right. Yeah.
I love them. I love the Vaudevillains. God, if they could win the tag title, that'd be so cool. Great.
Well, I'm going Vaudevillains because I think right now they have a little more established name than, Blake and Murphy or whatever their names are. When they won the tag team titles from Lucha Dragons, I'm just like, who are these guys? Where do they even come from?
I know. It's really weird, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping that they drop the titles to, a lot of villains. Anyway, going from there to the main event, Finn Balor defending the NXT title against Kevin Owens in a ladder match. They are promoting it as one of the most brutal matches in NXT. Hard to deny that. What can we expect from this matchup?
It's going to be fantastic. Finn Balor is going to retain.
I agree. I've been a been Finn Balor fan for quite a long time, and I thought in the Beast from the East event, I honestly thought that was going to be the main event, and the way that they hyped it up, especially the Japan crowd,
was really weird.
The Japan crowd was so into it, and I'm thinking they should have been the main event. This should have been the one that they would have wanted to see last, but instead they had a generic John Cena matchup where
I know, just in a boring main event that was just silly.
The only retribution was that they said during the main event after Ziggler and Cena won, they're just like, but the main thing we want to focus on is Finn Balor winning the title. It's like, it's a little past that right now. I'm sure most of the fans are probably left by now. So,
yep.
way to plan this, way to promote this, guys.
Well, the Beast from the East is a great show. I'm really thinking Finn Balor's going to go over, going to keep the belt, and then, I don't know, good luck to Kevin Owens on the main roster, and I hope he doesn't get squashed, because I think throwing him in the John Cena fighters right off the bat was, I think, a good idea. It was cool, but, man, when they had him squashed, not to say that they're squash matches, but having it so that he just could not beat him, all those extra times after the first time, and
yeah.
He's kind of on a losing streak, and he's going to have to go through a lot of that shit. I'm sure Cesaro's going to be able to show him just like, listen, you're going to go through about 10 months of losing. Just stay strong, keep your head up, work hard, and everything will turn out all right, because now Cesaro's back in a really good spot again. So,
yeah, well, we'll get into SummerSlam in a minute, but I wanted to ask you this. In your opinion, what is the difference between, getting buried and getting put over? Because I know a lot of people are always confused about that. Like, every single time somebody usually wins, it's like, oh, that person's getting buried, Or, especially with Cena, they're saying like,
it really, you can lose all the time. And here's a perfect example. Chris Jericho, he is a career loser. And I love Jericho. Jericho's a great wrestler, but he is an enhancement guy through and through. He has been world champion. He has won humongous matches. He's beaten Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock in the same night. He unified the WCW and WWF belts. I mean, the guy is king of the world, but he is enhancing. He enhances everyone. The fucker has lost to Fandango at WrestleMania. There's no bigger loser in the world than Chris Jericho. Yet, the only time he's ever been squashed or buried was by the hands of the guy that is the master of burying people, and he is born with a shovel, and that's Triple H. Triple H buries people and puts over very few people. You can get buried in a wrestling promo. You could get buried without ever even wrestling in a match. It's a really strange thing. Like, Kevin Owens coming out and losing 2 matches in a row to John Cena wasn't necessarily him getting buried. It's the fact that after that, John Cena didn't even have Kevin Owens on his radar anymore. Even when Kevin took John Cena to his limit, like the first time beating him and then 2 more matches, 2 of the best John Cena matches we've ever seen. Or 3 of the best John Cena matches anybody's ever seen. They were so good. But they had Kevin Owens coming out on Raw and losing in tag team matches and losing to Randy Orton and this and then that and getting disqualified. And it's like, all your momentum, man, is kind of gone. So when Sami Zayn does get healthy again and comes back in, say, January or whatever, and say he does go after Kevin Owens, if he beats Kevin Owens, is it going to really mean that much? Because Owens has been on a pretty sloppy streak,
Yeah.
But you can get over and be put over even when losing a match. Case here. Here's my point to this one. WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin against Bret Hart with Ken Shamrock as a special guest referee. Bret Hart put over Stone Cold Steve Austin in that match, even though Bret Hart won that match. Up until that point, people were kind of getting into Steve Austin. They're like, yeah, he's pretty awesome, he's good. But he's not really that great. He's never been over that hump. They did that match at WrestleMania where it went for 40-some minutes. They got some of the most brutal chair shots I've ever seen. And that's the thing, is like, you can go through tables, you can fall off ladders, you can do all this crazy, crazy bumps and stuff. But man, the chair shots that they took in that match were brutal and beautiful. I loved that match. It was just an absolute work of art from start to finish. It was perfect, the style and everything. Bret Hart could do these types of matches, and that's one huge thing that's missing from wrestling today, is just Bret Hart being in the ring, or a wrestler that's the style of Bret Hart. But at the end, Steve Austin's in the sharpshooter. He's locked in. He's in the middle of the ring. Blood gushing out of his forehead onto the mat, and he passes out. And, the match ends. Shamrock calls for the bell. Bret Hart's got the hold. He holds it in, though. Bret Hart came into that match as a face. Stone Cold was the heel. Stone Cold was the cheater. Stone Cold was trying so hard to get over as a bad guy. And the longer Bret held in that sharpshooter, the more this crowd started to chant Stone Cold, Stone Cold. Because it's like, he's passed out, but we want this match to keep going. We feel bad now because he's just been beaten so brutally. And he wouldn't let go of the sharpshooter. Finally, Shamrock gets in there, and he wrestles his arms out loose, and he gets him off of it, and he's like, okay, you're done. Leave him alone. And Bret goes outside, and he comes back into the ring, and he starts kicking him while he's down, and he just keeps hammering on him, and Shamrock finally picks him up, and he throws him off to the side, and he's like, what the hell are you doing, man? The match is over. And Brett's like, leave me alone. I want to end this now. And there's been so many crazy things. Like Steve Austin was the heel. He hurt like Brett. He tried to like break his leg. He broke Brian Pillman's leg in a chair earlier, but the crowd didn't care. They just were so impressed by the way that Austin would not give up. And it was like he lost the match, yet Brett put him over in that manner. It's just there's ways that, and then being buried is amazing. You can just be put down on a mic, and if Triple H is there with a microphone and you're standing across the arena and he starts making fun of you and calling you some kind of name, and you just look like a fool standing there holding a microphone, and you get in the ring and you get beat by him. It's like, well, that was sucky. There's ways to put people over by beating them. There's ways to bury people by beating them, and it sucks. It sucks happening. It sucks when it happens. Cesaro was buried for a good year after he won that Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania 30.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was nobody bigger and nobody more excited for Cesaro after that happened. Like, they should have kept him going on a really hot streak. I don't care where he would. I don't necessarily think he'd be headlining WrestleMania 31 by any means, but he could have been one of those guys that challenged Lesnar during the time Lesnar was champ or something instead of more John Cena. They could have done Cesaro. It would have been a perfect replacement. It would have been exciting, would have been interesting, even if he just got to the main event and got beat by Lesnar, which would most likely happen anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just buried him. He came out and he just lost over and over again. It was like all that momentum was gone.
Yeah, it's always sad seeing that. I think that's a great analogy. I can't add on to that. I think that was just perfect. All right, so going on from that, we're going into the SummerSlam predictions. I'm just picking off random matches I'm finding on the good old Wikipedia, because we all know, if it's on Wikipedia, it must be true.
It's always true. Always.
Always true. Okay. All right, so let's start off with the rematch from Battleground. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. No stipulation, no different kind of matchup. I don't even know if I want to even pick a winner for this one, because I was excited to see it during Battleground. I'm thinking, okay, it's St. Louis, Missouri, hometown boy, definitely going to get the win. But now there's like nothing behind this one, so it's like it's just a regular match. Nobody's going to get into this. You kidding me? But if I have to pick, I'm thinking Randy Orton's going to go over again, just so Sheamus looks, weaker.
Yeah. No, Orton.
All right. So we go into, let's see, what's the next one? All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. This was just added on Monday. Going to be Dolph Ziggler with Lana in his corner versus Rusev with Summer Rae, a.k.a. Lana 2.0, in his corner.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much. WrestleMania is going to be a pretty good show, but there's so much. Like, I'm just hoping they're entertaining matches. I have no predictions. I don't know. I don't necessarily know. I mean, if you have Rusev lose, then what? Because, my God, this guy was being pushed to the moon a year ago, and now here we are.
Right.
If you have Dolph Ziggler lose, then what? I mean, the guy's all over the place. He can recover from being buried anyway. So I have kind of no feelings about this one either way. I'm not excited about it. I like Dolph Ziggler as a wrestler. I think he's got the worst gimmick in the world, though. Gimmick meaning name. I think his name's terrible.
Oh, okay.
His gimmick is just kind of a generic, like, 80s version of Billy Gunn.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. I would say you got to put Rusev over to keep him serious. Yeah. Otherwise, you have Dolph Ziggler go over, and then what? I don't know. I got nothing.
I think I would put Dolph Ziggler over and maybe have them continue feud. Maybe it can spoil into the Intercontinental Championship with, whoever the winner is of that matchup. I think that's the only way you can keep it maybe relevant. But, I think that Ziggler probably deserves it more than Rusev. I think Rusev can find a way to get back. He just needs to maybe have him face off against, actually he probably could go against, Seth Rollins and probably get some much needed, momentum from Rollins. But I think right now I'd have to go with Ziggler. So going from that to the 3-team elimination match, Team Bella versus Team Bad versus Team PCB, sorry. The Divas Revolution matchup, we might as well call it. I'd have to go with PCB. I think that despite the Bell Army being so dominant, I think that Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch have made